Hello everyone, let us start with the solutions of class 7 biology annual exam. Question paper. First question MCQs. Which plant tissue is responsible for growth in length and breadth? Of course, that is the meristematic tissue. Xylem transports water in plants. Xylem vessels are dead hollow tubes. So here the assertion and the reason, both of them are true. Rahul said to Neha, fungi prepare their own food. Neha replied, fungi depend on dead organisms for food. So who is correct? Neha, of course. They are saprophytes. Movement in amoeba takes place by pseudopodia. Unstriated muscles are seen in eyes, heart, walls of stomach, intestine. So other than the heart, all the three options are correct. So only A, C and D are correct. Assertion: sunlight is necessary for respiration. Reason: oxygen traps light energy. Over here, both of them are false. We need sunlight for photosynthesis, not for respiration. Also, oxygen does not trap light energy. Chloroplast or chlorophylls trap it. Which structure shows exchange of gases in leaves? Stomata. The breakdown of glucose to release 38 ATP is called as aerobic respiration. After running fast, a person breathes heavily because muscles need more oxygen. Which among these is not a symptom of asthma? Skin rashes. Over here we have another assertion. Removal of waste products from the body is excretion. Disorders related to urinary system are kidney stone and UTI. Both of them are true. Let us look at the diagram of the neuron over here. So the sequence is A is dendrites, B is cell body, C is axon and D is the axon terminal. So B option is the correct one. Okay. So the next one was assertion and reason once again. Over here, or which of these is a true statement? So over here the true statement is grey matter is made up of cell bodies while white matter is made up of nerve fibers. This is the true statement. Allergic reaction is caused by body's overreaction to harmless substances. Cerebrum is divided into cerebral hemispheres. Some of you have written cerebellar hemispheres, which is incorrect. Now let us take up the names. The green pigment present in the leaves, chloroplast. The plant tissue responsible for transport of water and minerals, xylem. The inflammatory substance released by binding of allergen to antibody, histamine. The nerve which carry impulse from brain to effector nerves, remember, it is the motor nerve. The filter contained in a cup-like Bowman's capsule is glomerulus. Now arrange these in the proper sequence, beginning with stimulus. So after stimulus is sent to the receptor organ. Through the receptor organ, it goes through the sensory nerves, to the spinal cord, and then provides the response. From kidney to ureter, the urine passes from kidney to ureter, and then it is stored in urinary bladder, and then it is sent out of the body through urethra. From cell to tissue to organ system. Over here, the first one is ingestion, then digestion, then egestion, and ingestion, then digestion. After digestion, it will be absorption, and in the end, egestion of excretory undigested food matter. First one, the seed. The seed coat breaks open, then the cotyledons emerge, and these cotyledons, they will give rise to the baby plant. State whether the following following statements are true or false, and if false, rewrite the correct statement. So you don't just have to write what is wrong. I have written over here. You also have to rewrite the correct statement. Animals are called as the lungs of the plant. No, plants are called as. Many have written trees. No, not just the trees. All the green plants are called as the lungs of the earth. Blisters is a serious allergic reaction. So, no, anaphylaxis is the allergic reaction. Kind of association in which both unrelated organisms are benefited is called as symbiotic relation. The fluid part of the blood is called plasma. The root nodules convert nitrogen to nitrates. So it is converted from nitrogen to nitrites or nitrates. That would be the correct answer. Now let us move on to the next bit over here. Match the columns. Eczema is a skin allergy. Synapse is the point of contact of nerves. Chloroplast, photosynthesis. Nephridia are found in Annelida, and Acetobacter is associated with production of vinegar. Many of you have written curd. No, it is production of vinegar. Now let us look at this setup and see what are the fill in the blanks over here. Some germinating seeds are kept in a flat bottom flask. The flask is fitted with a cork having 2 holes. A thistle funnel, this is called as a thistle funnel. Thistle funnel is inserted in one hole and a bent glass tube in the other. After some time, the gas produced is passed into a test tube containing lime water. This is lime water, which turns milky, and this confirms the presence of carbon dioxide. So these are the blanks. These are the words with which you should have filled the blanks. Expand the abbreviation IgE. It is immunoglobulin E. While studying photosynthesis, Tina noticed small bubbles were released. Draw a label diagram. So this type of a diagram you should be drawing, where all the labels are given properly. While preparing idli batter, he observed that after keeping the batter overnight, it becomes soft and fluffy. Identify and define the process. So first you have to identify it as fermentation. Many of you have written it is anaerobic respiration. No, the actual process over here which is happening is fermentation, which is a type of anaerobic respiration, and you have to define fermentation, not anaerobic respiration. So when it says define the process, it means you have to define fermentation. So in this process, sugar is incompletely broken down to produce carbon dioxide, ethyl alcohol and energy. That is what you have to mention. Does this process occur in presence or absence of oxygen? Of course, it occurs in absence of oxygen. Name the type of respiration. Here you will write anaerobic respiration. Write 4 factors affecting photosynthesis. So 4 factors you have to write, and at least 2 write in a little bit of detail, right? So like light, how do they affect? You cannot just write them light intensity. What do you mean by light intensity? So you have to mention, as light intensity increases, photosynthesis increases. As the availability of carbon dioxide increases, the rate of photosynthesis increases. If there is a scarcity of water, the rate of photosynthesis will decrease. Photosynthesis can occur only in the presence of chlorophyll. So you have to mention how these factors affect photosynthesis, at least 2 of them, right? So during spring season, Arav starts sneezing whenever he goes near flowering plants. Now let us shift this slide a little bit to this side. What is the possible cause of Arav sneezing? So pollen allergy, some have written hay fever, perfectly fine. Suggest 2 precautions he should take to reduce the above reaction. Avoid the pollens, of course, wear a mask and take antihistamines. Other than sneezing, mention any other 2 symptoms that Arav experiences. So it is a pollen allergy. So he might feel coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath, runny nose and eyes. Some have written rashes on the skin, but that is not a symptom of a pollen allergy. Mention 1 point how tendons are different from ligament. Tendons, first and foremost, they join muscle to bone, and ligaments, they join bone to bone. Tendons are less flexible, whereas ligaments are strong and very elastic. Tendons are white fibrous, ligaments are yellow fibrous. So any of these differences, because no specific difference is mentioned, you can write, but the major difference of what actually distinguishes tendons and ligaments is that tendons join muscle to bone and ligaments join bone to bone. So if you are asked to write only one difference, then you should write the major difference. State the role of bacteria in tanning of leather and retting of fibers. Many of you have not written it correctly. You have to write You have only written bacteria help in tanning of leather and retting of fibers, but how? So you have to mention that these bacteria, they prevent the leather from decaying, decomposition and oxidation. So they prevent, that is what is known as tanning of leather. Then in retting of fibers, presence of these bacteria facilitates the separation of fibers from the woody tissue. तो जब ये बैक्टीरिया प्रेजेंट होते हैं तो फाइबर्स को वुडी टिश्यू से अलग करना इजी हो जाता है. सो दैट इज हाउ दे आर हेल्पफुल, राइट. सो टेबल देखी थी यहाँ पर, तो यहाँ स्टिमुलस है. सीइंग अ कॉइन लाइन सिचुएशन इज सीइंग अ कॉइन लाइंग ऑन द फ्लोर. So the stimulus is the coin which you see, and the response is you bend down and pick it up. When a person is given a hot glass of milk, the stimulus is the hot glass which you feel, which is observed through your senses. So this is observed through your eyes, your sensory organ, and then this hot glass which is felt through your skin, you withdraw the hand. That will be the response. Differentiate between cranial and spinal nerves based on the number and origin. तो number में 12 pairs लिखना जरूरी है. So it is pairs, right? Brain and it originates from the brain. Spinal cord 31 pairs and it originates from the spinal cord. Now Samir forgot to cover a piece of bread. इसके ऊपर हम देख रहे हैं white cottony like growth है. Name the organism that grows on the stale bread. तो organism का नाम है rhizopus, और you can also write bread mold. Bread mold भी ठीक है. Thread like structures are the hyphae and the network is called as mycelium. Many of you got this wrong. Name the rounded structures that contain spores, that is sporangia. One harmful, one use of fungi. They are poisonous. They can spoil the food. Then one use, there are some of the fungi are edible like mushrooms, and they are used in the production of antibiotics like penicillin. They are also used to give flavor to cheese and all that. So you can use any of these uses for fungi. They cause several diseases in animals, in plants, and also in human beings. So that is also one harmful way, one way in which fungi are harmful to us. Define classification. Classification is the method of grouping living organisms on the basis of similarities and differences. तो ग्रुपिंग यहाँ लिखना जरूरी है. बहुत सारे लोग थे क्लासिफिकेशन इज क्लासिफाइंग. नो, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय क्लासिफाइंग? सो दिस वर्ड कैन नॉट बी यूज्ड ओवर हियर इन द डेफिनेशन बिकॉज यू आर asked to define classification itself, right? So it is the method of grouping living organisms on the basis of their similarities and differences. Consumption of alcohol affects the function of cerebellum. Why? So there are two reasons. Cerebellum is the center of the balance in the body. This region of the brain is responsible for creating balance in the body. So once it is affected, the balance in the body is disturbed. It is also the center for coordination of muscular activities. So not just the balance of the body, any muscular activity which requires a coordination, like picking up something or putting something down. So that is also, यहाँ पैर रखना है, वहाँ चले जा रहा है. All these symptoms or all these indications we see when a person has consumed alcohol. So ये दोनों reason लिखना था because it was of 2 marks. So if you have written 1, then you will get 1 mark. Virat noticed small green plants growing on damp wall. Identify the group of plants. So they are bryophytes, right? Name the root-like structures present. The root-like structures are rhizoids. State one function of these structures. So they are just like roots. So they conduct water and minerals. Classify the following organisms by writing the appropriate class or phylum to which each belongs. So when we are looking at it this way, so butterfly, it belongs to Arthropoda. Penguin, it belongs to apes. Many of you have written penguin belong to mammals? No. Penguin belong to apes. They are birds. Starfish, Echinodermata, lizard, reptilia. Right? So just a minute. The lizards, they belong to reptiles. Okay. Now, Meera suddenly stepped on a thorn and quickly lifted her foot. Identify the type of action involved and define it. So, the action which happened was reflex action. And what are these? How do you define it? These are actions which are under the control of the spinal cord and they bring about immediate response. That is what is the definition of reflex action. What is the pathway to the stimulus? So when you are this over here, the definition is impulse travels from the receptor to the spinal cord or the effector muscle. It doesn't involve the brain and the response is very quick. So even if you write this way, so over here it is fine. Okay. So ये कैसे है इम्पल्स? तो ये रिफ्लेक्स एक्शन एक्चुअली किसको बोलते हैं कि रिसेप्टर से स्पाइनल कॉर्ड से अफेक्टर मसल जाता है, ये ब्रेन नहीं इसमें इन्वॉल्व होता. दैट इज हाउ यू डिफाइन रिफ्लेक्स एक्शन. पाथवे, तो पाथवे बताना है तो स्टिमुलस से रिसेप्टर, रिसेप्टर से सेंसरी न्यूरॉन, सेंसरी न्यूरॉन से स्पाइनल कॉर्ड, स्पाइनल कॉर्ड से मोटर नर्व, मोटर नर्व से मसल एंड दिस विल लीड टू द रिस्पॉन्स. राइट. Then who was the scientist, physiologist? So Ivan Pavlov, he was the physiologist. Is the brain involved immediately in this action? No. These actions are under the control of the spinal cord. What we just wrote over here, you have to explain it. Right, 2 types of drugs prescribed for asthma sufferers. So those people who suffer from asthma are provided with bronchodilators and steroids. Before his final exams, Ranveer felt nervous. So which part of the brain controls emotions like fear and anxiety? Cerebrum. Helps him to think and write answer. Again cerebrum. So few of you got confused and wrote in one of the options you wrote cerebellum. No, it is cerebrum for both of them. Which is the lowest part of the brain? It is medulla oblongata. And what is its function? It controls breathing, heartbeat, peristalsis, which helps the food to move forward in the esophagus. All those actions, involuntary actions, are controlled by medulla oblongata. Right? So draw a well-labeled diagram of bacterial cell. You have already done this with these parts. Show 2 differences between combustion and respiration. Combustion, first and foremost, it is a very fast process and it occurs in non-living things, and respiration is a slow process which occurs in living organisms. Then it occurs at high temperature, this occurs at low temperature. It produces heat and light. It does not release heat or light, or even if heat is released, it is very small in amount. Okay. Rohan observed his grandfather who is suffering from kidney problems. So over here state the role of the part marked 1 and 2. So 1 is, so you don't have to just label. Many of you have just labeled it. You have to mention their role. So kidneys, they filter the blood, and ureter, it passes the urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder where it is stored. Right? Name the different types of nitrogenous wastes which are present in the fluid stored in 3. So the wastes are urea and uric acid. Remember, it says nitrogenous waste, so you have to write urea and uric acid. Why does Rohan's grandfather need dialysis? Because his kidneys are damaged, so he needs artificial kidneys to filter the blood. This process is called as dialysis. So you have to mention give the reason properly. Alright. So I hope that it helped you to clarify your doubts. Thank you so much for watching.